All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Turn that down just a hair. I'm going to see if I can't switch to my earbuds, because I conveniently forgot to do that. And that's going to be a pain in the ass. Alright, I'm going to have to switch it directly. Alright. Hopefully y'all can hear what's going on. That's right, we're back. This is a makeup stream. We were supposed to do this 2 days ago, but with my sewer being worked on, it threw off my entire schedule. I didn't even realize that it was Tuesday, so we missed our tours day, and instead we're going on Thursday. I can't make, without making it sound like Tuesday, I can't make the alliteration. Anyway, so we're back in Vienna, in the Tolless A319 in X-Plane 11.5 Vulcan. And we're going to be flying today to Copenhagen. So that's going to be a fun approach. We're just about at dawn. So let's go ahead and get this thing started, shall we? Let's turn on batteries 1 and 2. Ground control recorder. External power on. Fuel pumps should all be off. And then we need to load our fuel. Alright, so we need to be in our Tolless ISCS. And I need to jump into this real quick. Hopefully I'll still be able to see chat well enough anyway. Just try not to go too fast for me. Alright, so our loading today, we have 7,000 kilograms of fuel. And then passengers, 128 going to Copenhagen. 0.2 kilograms of cargo, but we're going to do this by zero fuel weight because for some reason zero fuel weight seems to be a little wonky. We should have 55.8, which is exactly what we've got. So we're going to keep those load settings. All right. APU fire test. Careful with your ears. Church has been messy the past few days, so I might start coming to the Wednesday streams. What do you mean messy? I hope it's nothing bad. Ooh, that is loud. Alright, so APU fire test passed. Master switch can come on. Start setting up the cockpit lights and McDo's while I wait for the flap open message on the upper ECAM. Or pardon me, lower ECAM. So these here are our ECAMs. Basically, it's how we see what the computer's doing, mostly. Alright, flap open. That's going to be APU start. Let's go ahead and get our ADIRs aligning. Cockpit lights and McDo's need to all come on. Batteries off. Just lighten this bitch up. We won't have to worry about this for long. Flap lever should match ECAM. Check this last one. Weird planning and stuff. Nothing horrible. Just normal things cause cancellation. Okay, fair enough. That's not bad. Alright, speed brake should be retracted. Probe and window heat is on auto, which is fine. APU bleed can come on. Air conditioning panel, no white. Cross bleed should be set to auto. Air conditioning temperature looks fine. Generator 1 and 2 fault light is on. External power can come off. Electrical panel, all of the lights off. Ventilation panel, all lights off. Preliminary pre-flight procedures completed. Alright, so ADIRs are on. Strobe light can come on. Wing light. Nav and logo to system 2 today. Seat belts can come on, no smoking to auto, and emergency exit lights armed. Landing elevation should be set to auto, which you can see right here in the middle. Pack flow as required. Today we have 128 passengers, so we need to be normal. Fuel pumps can all come on. Engine 1 and 2 fire test. This is going to hurt your ears. Hold on just a second for the sound warning for headphone users. Alright, radio 3, 2, 1. Let's turn these bitches on. 3, 2, 1. And now we get to set up our MICDO. I got a new game for your PS4, so you've been playing that. What game did you get? Give me the MICDO. Thank you. Alright, so we're going to go to initialization. And we're going to data. GPS monitor. So we are going from LOWW to EKCH. That's from Vienna to Copenhagen. Our flight number today is going to be AUA 2104. Latitude is 4806.9 north. Longitude is 1634.2 east. Wait, 1634.2. Okay. You just had that one. Today's cost index is going to be 18. And our flight level is going to be 380. Sudden Strike 4. It's a strategy game. Interesting. I've never actually heard of Sudden Strike. And I've played a lot of strategy games. I have the entire Command & Conquer franchise. I don't know. It's strange that I've never heard of that. Unless it's a differently named thing in an old franchise. That has definitely happened before. Alright. So we are going to depart from Vienna via Lennox to Charlie on the runway 29. We have no transition. And then from Lennox, we're going to jump on Airways Lima 858 to Hotel Delta Oscar. We're going to jump on Mike 725 to Jerga. Tango 239 to Peram. Tango 298 to Monarch. Insert. There's going to be a ridiculously long flight plan. It's not actually that long of a flight. Oh, you never heard of it until next week? Well, I hope you like it. Okay, so we are going to be joining the Monarch 1 Mike arrival for runway 04 left. Monarch 1 Mike. No via. No trans. And there we go. That should give us... Oh, that is beautiful. Beautiful. Oh. You're spoiling me, X-Plane. You actually work. I've played a lot of them, so I may have to look into that one. Let me know how you like it. Maybe stream it sometime, and I'd be happy to watch it and see what it's like. Alright, okay, so next we need to do init B. And for this, I need to go back into my ISCS. 0 fuel weight is going to be 55.8 with a 29.3 center of gravity. And then 7 for our block fuel. Performance. We're going to select a flaps 1 takeoff today. Alright, so V1 is 141. V rotate is 141. Which means up until the moment we take off, we can still stop the plane. That's what that means. These are the speeds. So you see this where it's, V141, V1, V rotate, V2. These are the speeds at which you do certain things. V1 is the speed at which you hit the point of no return. At V1, your amount of runway available minus your amount of runway already used will leave you going so fast that you don't have enough runway left to stop in. So once you hit V1, you are committed to taking off. VR tells you when you're going to rotate the plane to get it up into the air, and V2 is your safe climb out speed. Basically, your plane is going to try and maintain, I think it's 10 knots above that. So I'm going to try and hit 153, and then and that's when you'll see me reduce the throttle to climb from flex or toga. Yeah, maybe next Saturday. That'd be cool. Yeah, I'd be happy to watch. All right, so that's performance. No, I need flaps. Flaps are going to be 30.5. Wait. No, it's going to be 1/down 0.0. And then flex temp is going to be 65 degrees. That's takeoff done. We can set progress to EKCH, which is Copenhagen, which is where we are going. So you're on progress. I'll leave you on flight plan. And that's pre-flight procedures completed. So now we can worry about pushback start. We don't actually need a pushback today, which means things are going to go just a touch faster. So altimeter, we need to set it, for which I'm going to look over here real quick. Q1017. So we need to switch this over. 1017. Set our standby. Flight directors should both be on. Speed and heading should both be dashed. Altitude we're going to set to ATC cleared. Since we have no ATC, we're going to go ahead and go up to 38,000 feet. Damn near the service ceiling of this aircraft. Anti-skid and nose wheel steering is on. Switching panel is all normal. Transponder we're going to set to 1200. And then we're going to turn it on. Still in standby mode. Alright, beacon can come on. And that's pushback procedures complete. Engine mode to ignition. Starting engine 2. Then we're going to wait here until this hits about 19 to 20% N1 rotation. I'm going to go ahead and start this so we know how long our engines are running. But obviously, only if it's good. If it sucks, then you don't have to stream it. You can just say, "Hey, it sucked, man." I don't want to waste your time or your stream. The important part is to have fun, right? Oh, that engine sound. All right. And positive start, engine 2. We're going to start engine 1. That sound, that little squeaking sound, that's the power transfer unit. What that's doing is it's taking the hydraulic pressure from the right side and it's using it to turn a pump that supplies hydraulic pressure to the left side. Technically, there's 3 different hydraulic systems: yellow, blue, and green. Pardon me. So the yellow is powered by the right engine, the green is powered by the left engine, and the blue is powered by both. Also, there's an electric pump if it's necessary. But you start the yellow system first because it powers the brakes, and then you use that to power the green side. Alright, that's power coming on from the left side. And positive start, engine 1. Engine mode selector to normal. APU bleed can come off. Ground spoilers armed. Flap set for takeoff. Why did I just snap back? Pitch trim is already set because it's 0. Engine and wing anti-ice is not needed because I don't see any cloud cover. And we're in cavalcade conditions. APU master can come off. Nose wheel light set for taxi. Alright. Parking brake off. Elapsed time run. Brakes are good. Flight controls full left, full right, full up, full down. FMA should be at nav and climb. Auto brake can be set to max. Terrain on ND. Make the cabin calls. ECAM. Take off normal. No blue. Let's look at our live map real quick. And let me try and get our briefing done.
Greetings from the cockpit. This is your captain. Thank you for choosing to fly Iraq Tech. I'd like to take this opportunity to remind you our AV system isn't working today, so we can't show you the $2 million safety video that an ad agency did for us. But since very little of what that video tells you will actually save your lives, I'm going to do it instead. Here's the big thing to remember. If we crash or make an emergency landing, statistically speaking, 95% of people will survive. If it's a serious crash, 55% of people will survive. So if this plane is going down, concentrate, because your life may depend on some smart decisions. Keep in mind that 80% of accidents happen within the first 3 minutes and the last 8 minutes of flight. So that's when it would be wise to keep your shoes on and put your laptops away and stay focused. The safest seats on this plane are over the wings closest to the emergency exit. If you're not in one of those right now, here's what you can do to help ensure your survival. Look where your nearest exit is. Now count the rows between you and that exit. If the cabin was full of smoke, or upside down, or full of smoke and upside down, how would you get to that exit? Take a moment to visualize yourself doing that right now. Now look at your seatbelt. I know all of you know how to use it, but that's because nothing is making you lose your shit right now. It's common for people in emergency stress situations to try and open that thing by pressing a button that's not actually there, like a seatbelt on your car. So take a moment to imagine yourself lifting that flap in an emergency. In fact, do it right now, just to get used to the motion. Emergency evacuations on the runway are more common than crashes. In the event of something like an engine fire, we need to get you all off the plane in about 90 seconds. This means you simply put your fucking bags in the overhead bins, get off the damn plane in a quick and orderly manner. Those bags will bring the evacuation to a first level. My first officer and I will be trying to get off this plane, and the last thing we want is the cockpit block of your roll on. Now, you're probably well aware there's a life jacket under your seat, but forget about it. You're less likely to save your life than you will wear it. Or there was a famous 2009 emergency water landing on the Hudson, but there were boats on hand that nobody actually did get the life vest. There was a flight from the ancient Caribbean in the 1970s where 40 lives were left saved by the vest. But there was also one off the coast of Ethiopia in 1996, in which many passengers had gone too early and couldn't get out of the flooded Houston. Put it another way, if we replaced those life vests with boxy shockers, you wouldn't alter your survival odds. Let's take a second to talk about those oxygen masks. Here's the thing. If we lose cabin pressure at a fairly low altitude, the brain will respond. If we lose cabin pressure at cruising altitude, if that happens, here's what I'm required to do by law. I'm going to push the nose of the plane in an emergency descent. It's going to feel like a roller coaster drop, and it's going to scare the crap out of you. But it's not dangerous. I practice. Also by law, I need to notify air traffic control as well as the airline, and I need to do all that before I can get on the microphone and tell you what the hell is going on. So don't be surprised if you don't hear from me today. I'm just doing my best. You're going to. For those of you who don't manage to get your masks on in time, you'll probably pass out and wake up in a minute or two and get the plane to a lower altitude. You want to know what the biggest danger is? The biggest danger is actually that your luggage or those bottles purchased in the overhead compartment will fall out, open, and hit someone on the head. There are actually several thousand reported injuries from this every year in the United States alone. By contrast, the FAA only reports 58 or so serious injuries from turbulence. So one could easily make the case that we should be handing you a helmet instead of seatbelts. Another big risk is the drink cart. Seriously. It weighs over 100 kilos when fully loaded, and every year passengers get their elbows, knees, and feet broken when the drink cart slams into them. So keep your arms and legs tucked away. Why haven't airlines put some safety padding on the drink cart? I don't know. Maybe because you're screaming at the attendants for your chicken being flared, or your drink not being flared. Same goes for stove-proof coffee with teapots and cups of drinks. Every year, some poor passengers get hot coffee or tea in their crotch when there's a bit of turbulence, but until the airlines fix this, I'm afraid you're on your own. Now, you're probably wondering how can this bucket of bolts stay in the sky if we can't get food in the system or the latch in the tray didn't work properly. To be honest, we sometimes wonder that as well. The stats speak for themselves. The actual risk of dying in a plane crash is 1 in 11 million, according to the Harvard School of Public Health 2006 study. So you're far more likely to be struck by lightning or killed by a shark. And it's certainly much safer than driving. Right after 9/11, many were scared to fly. 12 to 20% fewer people flew. But because more people made driving trips instead of flying, a German professor estimated that an extra 1,595 people died in car accidents in the year after 9/11, just in the U.S. This little reminder that will probably be seatbelt sign on for nearly the entire flight. Because our flight crew doesn't want to be bothered in the galley, and they definitely don't like trying to squeeze by you in the aisles. That or I forgot. Either way. Anyway, please sit back and relax while we take forever to serve you a drink and a barely edible meal, and then leave the tray on your table, making it nearly impossible for you to squeeze out of your chair into the toilet. Looking forward to flying the salty skies with you again.
Alright. I'm glad that you still like it. It took me probably 2 or 3 days of cuts in order to make that, because I wanted to get it all in one go, because it's impossible for me to get the seams quite right unless I take a lot of breaks. But the point of a briefing, right, is they don't really take a break. They don't take a breath. They just talk. To the point where you'll get pilots who are sitting there going, And the reason why they're doing that, by the way, is because while they're telling you just a quick briefing at the beginning, not the whole safety briefing, but the pilot telling you, this is your captain speaking, we're heading on our way to Copenhagen, blah, blah, blah. The reason why they pause and go, during that a lot is because they are doing other things at the same time. Like right now, they would probably be looking at weather forecasts along their route. They'd be looking at, I think they're called sector... I don't remember what it's called, honestly. And that's because I'm not a real pilot, by the way. Just want to make that clear. I'm not a real pilot. There's going to be wind information, airport weather, maybe it's part of LOWW? Not sure. But yeah, our so they're looking at weather, they're looking at expected times, they're looking at expected fuel burn, they're checking what their current fuel level is, or at least what the computer thinks it is. They're still going over checklists and getting ready for the flight. So even though they're on the PA with you, they're still having to do work in the cockpit while that's happening. So a lot of times they're looking for information, or they're having to write something down, and that's where you get those extended So they'll be like, well, we're going to Copenhagen, and it's going to be about let's see. They would already be down here at Copenhagen. So EKCH. So it looks like when we get there, it's going to be about -3 degrees Celsius, and it looks like there's maybe some precipitation in the area, so you may be looking at some snow. Going to be some light winds, and it's going to be a little overcast. So that's what I can tell you just looking at the METAR information, which is really hard to read. Like I'm gonna give you guys an example. This is actually the METAR for Copenhagen when we arrive. Yeah, it's like when you have no clue what to order at McDonald's. It's exactly what it's like. Because you're spending all of your time looking at the menu, right? So like in this, what this means is that this terminal area forecast was auto-generated. The wind's going to be from 060, so almost a little north of east. Can I get a... Yeah, exactly. It's because they are thinking or doing something while they're talking to you, and their brain can't do both in that particular moment because it requires some sort of decision-making or accessing some memories that they have. And the more important one is flying the plane, right? So handling the plane is first priority, your second priority. So when there's a conflict between what they already know and can tell you and what they have to remember versus what they're currently doing with the plane, you get the and the plane gets the attention. So yeah, this says the winds are going to be from 060, 090 being east, 000 being north, so slightly north of east, at 7 knots, which is roughly 10% more than miles per hour, I think. 15%, I think. So 5 miles per hour. Maybe 4. Visibility is unlimited, but you have overcast clouds at 1,600 feet. The temperature is -3 with a dew point of -6. It is currently 1020 millibars is the atmospheric pressure. The R04L, I think that means that it's raining 4 milliliters per hour. I think, but I'm not sure. Or per minute. I'm not sure. This is where I get hazy on it. I think these are all times. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure on these. The R. I know that the R04L, R04R, R12. Okay, so those are the runways. Okay, those are the runways. The 710-172, 710-160, 710-162. I have no idea what those mean. No sig means there are no significant changes expected. So I can decode most of it. I don't really understand what it's telling me about the runways. That may be something about the amount of precipitation on them. Unfortunately, I don't know. Also interesting is, I just saw this in my flight plan. So there is a notification in the NOTAMs, which is notice to airmen. So it's anybody flying the plane is airman. I read this and I happen to know the history behind this. So this is on every flight plan since the late 70s. I think, or maybe it was the early 80s. I'm not sure, but it's subject flight release units. To all flight crew, please pay special attention to the unit selection when generating a flight plan. Failure to identify the correct units when refueling prior to a flight can result in departing with insufficient fuel or an erroneous payload. So the reason that exists is an event called the Gimli Glider. So, a brand new Boeing 787, I think. It was a brand new plane. It had some issues, including with the fuel monitoring system. So, they had to do drop stick tests. And that's how they were able to tell how much fuel was in it. There was some computer issues, but ultimately, like, these computers that were having issues were new to the system. The Gimli Glider. So what happened was, it was on its way from, I want to say, I think it was on its way from Toronto to Vancouver. I'm not entirely sure, but so they took off after having this issue, right? Because it was a new plane, and they started measuring fuel in pounds, where before they had been measuring in liters, I think. It was either pounds and liters or it was pounds and kilograms. I don't remember which. But they changed how they did the measurement of fuel. So the pilot ordered in, I think he ordered in the correct amount, in the correct unit of measure, and the mechanics refueled it in the incorrect unit of measure. Because they were just doing what they usually do, because this was new for this aircraft, but the ground crew They handle hundreds of aircraft a day, and this was one of the first ones of this type. So they refueled in kilograms or in liters or what have you instead of pounds. And so they didn't notice the inconsistency in the amount of fuel. They had unreliable data from the computer, both because of computer failures and because of incorrect fuel monitoring. And they took off with insufficient fuel. And they didn't notice this until they were flying near an abandoned airport named Gimli, in Gimli. And this 787 just goes silent. All this buzzing, you hear this buzzsaw sound? That's the engines running. What's really dangerous is when you hear this. Because that's what the pilots heard. Suddenly you had this, and then all their instruments went blank. Their transponder went offline. ATC couldn't see them, couldn't hear them, couldn't talk to them. And the pilots wound up turning for Gimli. They did have a little bit of a warning. And they were able to do some things. Yeah, it is a pilot's nightmare. To suddenly have no engine. I mean, unless you're flying an actual glider, then it's okay. But when you're flying a passenger airplane, when you're flying one of the biggest airliners in the world, to have your engines go dead silent? Oh, that's not good. Well, technically, I think first their right engine failed, then their left. They flamed out, and then they're just floating. And they were trying to angle for a different airport. It didn't work out. They didn't have nearly enough. So the glide ratio on a Boeing 787 is something like 16 to 1. Right? So for every foot you are in the air, you can get 16 feet along the ground. And they were cruising at like 3,600 feet. Or 36,000 feet. So whatever the hell 16 times that is, I'm not doing that math in my head. But I think it wound up being like 18 miles that they had to work with. And basically, when they came down, they were going way too fast because Gimli was too close, but there wasn't another runway that was big enough in flight range. They couldn't make it to anywhere else. So the pilot did what's called a side slip maneuver. It's something that you do frequently with gliders, but it, to my knowledge, had never been done in an airliner before. So what it means is that you would roll to one side and pull up, right? So if you roll right and pull up, like you're trying to move to the right, trying to bank hard to the right, but then you give left rudder at the same time. So it basically makes the plane come forwards at an angle. So instead of coming straight on, where it's got all its aerodynamics, you're basically air braking, right? And so it's coming down, and it's too late to do anything about it, but they noticed last minute there are some people who have set up a racetrack on the abandoned runway. But there's nothing they can do about it. Most of the people are not actually on there. The last heat is already done. So it's mostly safe. They're coming down. They have to do a gravity extension on the gear. So if you look down here, you see this gear extension. What that does is you pull that, and it opens the doors, and then you just kind of dip a little bit, and the gear just comes down and locks. Because all that's a manual process. Normally you would have pneumatics that would lower them slowly and push them into place, but it can absolutely be done just by, shaking the plane. And that's what they did. They had to shake the plane. Unfortunately, their nose gear didn't work. It came down partway, but it didn't lock. So they hit the ground on the mains like they should. There were actually, from reports at the scene, there were two kids riding their bicycles on the runway. They did manage to get out, to get off the runway and out of the way before the plane hit them. But they landed on the mains, held the nose up for as long as they could before they lost too much lift. The nose hit the ground, and so the plane starts skidding down like this. Comes to a complete stop. The only injuries were from people trying to get off of the plane, going down the slides and stuff. Because, I mean, you think about it, if the plane's nose is on the ground, and normally the mains and the nose gear keep the plane pretty much level, but it's like 20 feet off the ground, right? Well, if you put that nose down on the ground, your mains are only halfway down the plane, so the ass end of the plane's like 40, 50 feet off the ground. It's a lot higher than it should be. So some people got hurt sliding too fast or what have you, but nobody died. Nobody was significantly hurt. There was some broken bones. That's it. Nobody went into critical care or anything. Everybody was safe, even though this plane totally lost engine power at 38,000 feet. Or 36,000, I'm sorry. It's an amazing story. If you want to look it up on YouTube sometime, it's called the Gimli Glider, exactly like the dwarf from Lord of the Rings. The Gimli Glider. And this is a fantastic story. I love it because everyone survived. It's absolutely a triumph of the aviation industry. Man, it looks like we were really struggling to get up to 38,000. Maybe a little bumpy, too. Oh, the Gimli Glider? Yeah, dude, it's a wild story. And I love it. It is weird, though. It is kind of scary, to be honest. But if you think about it, it's also kind of hopeful, right? Even if the plane completely loses its engines miles up in the air, it can still land perfectly fine and everybody's safe. Like, how wild is that? Oh, I see. We're fighting a headwind. We got a real strong headwind. Technically, I guess it's a crosswind. There was also a similar story that I know about the F-15 Eagle. So during some of the test flights, they had a situation where one of the test pilots wing struck another Eagle. And what he didn't know was that his left wing was just sheared off. It was gone. There was no left wing. You couldn't tell because so in planes, isn't this like the plane that landed on the Hudson? Okay, so the difference with Sully is that the damage done to that aircraft was done on takeoff. And there was actually a lot of issues with that, with that particular flight. But they had a bird strike immediately after takeoff, and they had to try and turn back. There was some miscommunication between them and ATC. Their mayday calls weren't answered properly because they made them while another aircraft was stepping on them on frequency. So, if two airplanes or any two sources try to transmit on one frequency in aviation, You'll just hear a squelch. You won't be able to hear either one of them. And that's meant to happen so that people know they need to repeat. But in a situation like this, where there's this kind of emergency going on, sometimes people don't notice that it's happened, and so they keep behaving as though they transmitted successfully. Even though there's supposed to be what's called positive feedback. So anytime that you receive an instruction or an information in aviation, you're supposed to repeat it to ensure that you have a closed loop, right? So that not only have they told you the thing, but you have confirmed that you heard the thing they said. Right? So if ATC were to call me right now and say, come right heading 350, then I would say, they would say, Air Iceland flight 2104, come right heading 350. I would say, where are we? I don't know exactly what FIR we're in, but I would say something like recip control. This is Air Iceland flight. I would say I don't have my numbers memorized, but Air Iceland 2104, turn right heading 350. And then if I said it correctly, they won't say anything more. I turn right, everybody's happy. If I say it wrong, like, they tell me Air Iceland 2104, turn right heading 350, and I respond, Kirsa Control, Air Iceland 2104, turn right heading 340. They would then correct me and say, Air Iceland, that's heading 350. And I go, okay, Air Iceland 2104, heading 350. Yes, turn, right? Is it the bird that crashed into the Sully related to the bird that crashed into the one plane where the window broke? No. That's a totally different situation. So these ones, they got sucked into the engines, and both engines wound up dying. He turned around, was unable to line himself up for the runway he was given, and wound up turning into the Hudson. The other one was in Europe, I think. And that was a bird struck the windshield of the plane, broke through it, and the difference in the pressure differential caused the air to rush out of the cockpit and pulled the co-pilot out. And there was 3 pilots on that flight, or 3 flight crew, I should say. And the captain grabbed him first, the engineer grabbed him second, and then the captain went back to flying the plane. And then they wound up having to call up one of the flight attendants to help keep the co-pilot into the plane. He wound up being totally fine. He did live through that encounter. But no, they're not related. One happened on takeoff out from JFK, and the other one, I want to say, happened over Austria? I think. So, they're also years apart. I'm pretty sure the co-pilot getting sucked out happened years earlier, before Sully. Bird crashing into the window is the funniest story. I mean, for us, yes, absolutely. That's a hilarious story. Same time, for the guy that had to live through it, no, I'm sure that's not very funny to him. Let's see, how far do we have? See, this is what I mean. We have a really long flight plan, but it's all these tiny little waypoints that only exist because in Europe, you can't fly direct places for the most part. You have to fly on these airways. And airways are kind of like highways, right? but you can only get on and off them at waypoints, similar to how you can only get on and off the freeway at on-ramps and off-ramps. Only in this case, the on-ramps and off-ramps are the same thing. So each one of these waypoints would be an on and off-ramp, an interchange, if you will. So you can get on and off at any of these, but if there's not a waypoint, like around here, if you need to get off somewhere around here, you can't. You have to wait to Abika or get off at Gurga. You can't just leave in the middle of it unless you work with ATC, unless there's some kind of an emergency, right? So in Europe, you have to fly on these airways. It's only when like an airway terminates that you can plan to leave an airway. So in order to make sure that people can get on and off these airways, there are tons of waypoints on these airways for people to jump on and off wherever they need. It makes, I guess it sort of makes it easier on ATC sometimes, because everybody's flying along this route. They can get distance, vertical separation and horizontal, and they know that they're all traveling along this column of air, right? And that helps them to make sure that they're spacing everybody properly. But unfortunately, it means that you get these ridiculously long flight plans because every 2 or 3 nautical miles you're changing waypoints so that people can get on and off the airway reasonably. It just seems to me like it's a lot of trouble, especially when people keep moving and weaving back and forth between different airways throughout their path. It just seems more trouble than it's worth to me, but I don't have to worry about all that because I looked through EDI and I looked through SimBrief, and that's how I generate my routes. I don't have to plan it manually. If I did, I probably would not fly in Europe because you have to take, when doing flight planning, you have to take a lot of things into account. You have to take into account weather, winds, altitude, flight, your restrictions in certain areas. There's a lot of things that you have to be worried about when you're flying and you're planning your own route. But I can shortcut all that by just following the same route as a flight that actually happened. So I don't have to worry about planning the route. SimBrief does that for me. I could go on SkyVector and plan my route. I could just open up IFR sectional charts and plan that way. I could absolutely do that. I don't want to. That's horribly complicated. But I could do it. I probably wouldn't want to do it unless I had a current Navigraph subscription, because then I get access to all the current navigation data. But I could do it. And I do know how, to a degree. I have never actually physically done it, which is why I say I know how to a degree. But yeah, the dude was definitely traumatized. There's no two ways around that. That was, being halfway sucked out. And I think he was passed out most of the time because, I mean, they were at 10,000. They were at or above 10,000 feet when he got sucked out, right? Like, he had to have passed out just from the pressure differential alone. Being sucked out of the airplane, I can't imagine he was awake the whole time. But there wasn't much he could do either. Like, you can't get a grip on the outside of a plane. That's the whole point. It's trying to reduce friction, just usually for the air. Instead, it's a guy trying to hold on for dear life. Oh, look at that wing flex. That bounciness. See, the thing that's hard to remember, right, is that tip of the wing is probably more stable than the rest of the plane. So what's happening here, you have to imagine, it's not that the wings are bouncing, even though that's what it feels like. The wings aren't bouncing. You got to think that the fuselage of the aircraft is hanging from the wings. The wings are what's holding it up. So when that's bouncing, what it means is the fuselage is bouncing from the tip of the wing. So it's actually the fuselage that's moving. This is one of the things that they really need to work on. Actually, I think this is what they are working on, is the clouds. The problem is, and it hasn't happened yet today, what they need to be working on is coasting. So right now, if the simulator was to run a weather update right now, I could very easily go from an 86 knot left headwind to an 86 knot right headwind. And it would just switch. Which means I would go from being fishtailed this way, right? So I'm currently flying like this. Are we going to do any streamers? Yes. I usually wait for somebody to mention it because if we run it and nobody wants to play, then we get penalized. No, I don't want to throw a bomber. I want to throw my warrior. Enemies will be revealed over time, so I'm going to put myself here in the corner. But yeah, I usually wait for somebody to mention it because if we try a map and fail, we only get to do it twice and then we get reset. And we have to start completely over. It's to give some punishment for failure. Because they do give you a salvage chest. So you still get some rewards if you fail. You still get some scrolls from when you place your units. But that means that essentially there's no downside to losing. And they want there to be consequences. So they decided that this was how they would do that. Is by, you get 2 retry tokens. If you burn both of those, you have to restart the map. Which honestly is not that bad. I probably should be running it all the time anyway. But yeah, you can see the link is up. The Stream Raiders is active. So if you want to take part in that, hit that link, get it started. Hopefully the number of enemies won't be too bad. But we are in another... we are in another special event. This one is called... Tomblands limited time event. Not sure what that is, but so it's not like based on a holiday or something. Okay, I am going to take a quick 5-minute break. I'm going to grab some water, and I will be right back. I have totally forgotten to restart the music. I'm going to do that now. Okay. So I'm going to give myself 5 minutes to go and get some water, stretch my legs, and I will be right back. Thank you so much for your patience, and I will see you in 5 minutes.
is your captain speaking with safety briefing number 4. If the child next to you, yours or not, starts crying really loud on the plane, have the flight attendant come up to the cockpit and let me know. I'll simulate a loss of pressure so the mask can come down and you can helpfully strangle the child until he's quiet.
Helpful information to know. This has been my PSA. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. To give a brief summary of Sudden Strike 4, it's a strategy game taking place in World War II, where you can either play as the Allies, Russians, or Germans. You'll be fighting in France, Poland, Russia, Belgium, and several other nations. The gameplay, graphics, and other aspects are good. It's a pretty good game overall. Good. Listen, sometimes I wish I could. I'm not actually advocating violence against children. Don't get me wrong. Don't quote me out of context here. I do need to switch my switch this back. You weren't able to see me there. But no, I'm not advocating violence against children. I'm very much against it. However, it is funny to think about the concept, right? Somebody bringing a child that's clearly too young, doesn't know how to handle the plane. They're bringing him on anyway. You kind of want to strangle him just a little bit. Just a little bit. You don't want to hurt him. You just want him to be quiet. That's all. Which is how you can tell I'm getting old, right? Also, I did see that 1,500 channel points being put into the No HOTUS challenge. And I totally forgot to mention anything about it, partially because I'm scared about it. Flying without a HOTUS is really, really hard. Even just taking off requires a little bit of luck. We'll say luck. But yeah, that sounds interesting. I may have to look into it. We don't indict murder, but we just want the craphead to be quiet. Yeah. Incite, yeah. We don't want to incite murder. We just want the little shit to be quiet for a little bit. That's all. I mean, listen, if I knew the dosage on, like, you know, children's Valium, we'd be solved already. But, you know, I had a friend of mine who had, he had his aunt, I want to say, give him like half a tablet of her Valium. And he went out for like 18 hours. And, yeah, that was an interesting situation. I won't go into any more detail about it than that. But, yeah, it was definitely interesting. But yeah, I apologize for not mentioning the fact that you donated that 1,500 channel points. That is very much appreciated. The Red Alert games were really good despite the weird concept and story. Yes. I loved the Red Alert games. I didn't love 3 as much as I did 2. Red Alert 1 was good. Red Alert 2 was a masterpiece. Red Alert 3 kind of started to fall off. They lost me. The whole chronosphere thing was a little weird. So was the whole psychic sensor thing. I mean, they were getting very deep into the sci-fi. But I mean, that was their bread and butter, right? Like, they came from GDI and Nod. And the Brotherhood of Nod was very, very technologically advanced. Comparatively to us, right? Like, we're talking about laser turrets and stuff. I mean, it's much simpler to render a laser turret than a machine gun turret in a game, right? Because one's just a line, and it immediately connects, it immediately calculates all that stuff. When you're talking about bullets, you kind of just ignore it, right? Like, you ignore the fact that bullets have travel time, you ignore transverse velocity, because you would technically have to worry about all that stuff, right? Like, so they actually go into this in EVE Online. I don't know if you ever played that, but there's a concept to maximizing the potential of any aircraft, of any spacecraft, and it kind of centers around this concept of transverse velocity. So the idea is, if a large ship is standing still, right, they have turrets, and these turrets can aim. If a faster ship comes by and it's just going so fast, like a bat out of hell, the turret can't actually move to track it fast enough to hit it before it's gone. So, like, they have just the moment where it enters its, cone of fire to hit it. And after that, the turret can't keep up. So they get one shot to ding it, and that's it, with each bullet. And even that, you have to lead them because bullets have travel time. Shells have travel time. So as you get bigger turrets, bigger bullets, bigger shells, and everything, it gets harder and harder to hit, which is why a lot of people started using lasers, because although they do less damage, they're hit scan weapons, right? You don't have to worry about transverse velocity as much. You can definitely hit. You can't necessarily sustain that damage, but it's one way to deal with the problem. You're guaranteed more hits more often. They're not going to be as strong, but you can keep the heat on, which is something you can't do with shells, because although the shell, yeah, if it hits, it's going to wreck their day, but the turrets can't keep up, so they can't hit. So in Red Alert, you could hypothetically have something like a dog or a bike that just goes so fast that that the turrets can't keep up with them. Now, Red Alert did this by ignoring it. They just made bullets a hit scan weapon, and instead of having a line that goes between the source and the target, instead it just has a little animation that plays on top of the target and they die. But yeah, Brotherhood of Nod was very, very advanced. So was GDI, to be honest. I mean, the Philadelphia was already a space-borne weapons platform. Yeah, have an issue, ignore it. Always goes well. Especially if you're the one that's actually creating the world, right? If you're creating the world, then you can determine what the physics can do. So, in this case, Westwood was God, and they could make it so that these turrets can turn at light speed. And the bullets, they travel at light speed too, but they slow down just before impact so that they don't, tear holes in space-time. Oh, by the way, this is officially branded merchandise for the stream, as is this and the shirt. All you gotta do is check out this link, and it will take you to my Spreadshirt shop. And I don't make a lot on it because I didn't want to inflate the price for you guys. Like, I paid pretty much the same price you guys do for this stuff. I think the difference on two shirts, cap, and this was all like $10. Was the difference in price. Oh no, I understand. I'm not expecting anybody to actually do it. I just forget to talk about it at all. And if I don't mention it, then nobody knows about it. Like, even the people that lurk or that watch this after the fact on YouTube, if I don't talk about it, they don't know about it and they can't buy it. And I know, like, my wife got one of these. Hers, I think, is the steel. I got the blue metallic brushed. Blue glitter. Which I've been very happy to report. There is no glitter or it is all, like, sealed. Because I've been using this for months now, and nothing comes off on my hands. There's no glitter. So it's not like something that's gonna knock off. It just gives it a nice grip. It started off a little rougher than I would like, but it has worn down now to where it just kind of feels like a grip. You know? So now I kind of like it. But it did put me off at first. And I think it's just that it's worn down a little bit. And so the edges aren't as sharp. But it gives me a nice firm grip. And I like that. Okay, we probably need to start entering destination data. Let's go ahead and get started with that. Alright, so this is our METAR over here. So we're going to go to performance. Actually, let's see if we can't grab winds first. Descent winds, nope. Okay, so let's go approach. QNH is going to be 1022. Temperature is going to be -4. Winds are going to be 070 at 9. MDA is going to be 200 feet. Let's see if we can't pull the... How do you do the Stream Raiders thing? You just click on the link that it posted before... Copy link address. I don't know whether they're still open or not, but they do have enrollments. You just go to streamraiders.com and there should be a link to become a captain. And if they're currently open for it, you can usually check. You should be able to apply there. It'll ask you to join their Discord, and that's how they'll let you know. Let's go down to 4,000 feet, I think. Alright, so that's landing elevation, arrivals, performance approach, top of descent winds, FCU altitude. We don't need the speed brake. Altimeter we set at... Let's see. Just want to brief this. 5,000 feet is our transitional altitude. If they're currently open, then you'll just download the client, and then you just include the countdown as part of your overlay, and then whenever you start a fight, it'll automatically post it into your chat. You do have to authorize the bot as a moderator in your channel, but you just click the fight, and then it throws it up into Stream Raiders. Your viewers play. Sometimes you get viewers from other channels from just their playing Stream Raiders. Does it show up on PlayStation? No. It would be on whatever you're using to... So, like, if you're just using the PlayStation live streaming, I don't think you'd be able to do that. Yeah, I don't think there's any way that you could do it on PlayStation. That's unfortunate. You may want to look into, if possible, doing a two-system setup where you have a PlayStation that is actually playing the game, and then you handle the streaming on like a laptop or a smaller, weaker PC, one that's powerful enough to get the job done. But it doesn't necessarily need to be like a gaming PC. Landing lights on at 10,000. We're significantly above that. Let's turn on our constraints and airports. We got no constraints yet because we're not even on our arrival. You might do a test with your laptop to see if it can stream. I use OBS Studio. Depending on what you need, you may just want to do Streamlabs OBS. Streamlabs OBS is less powerful, but it is more simple. It's easier to maintain, and there's an app that you can directly handle things from. Yours can't. Yeah, so you may be stuck for now with Stream Raiders. It's definitely a computer thing. To the best of my knowledge, there is no way to actually run Stream Raiders without a computer. Because you have to include the Stream Raiders interface on your overlay. And you have to actually select things from your stream. Like, I mean, technically, you could run Stream Raiders as a stream captain without actually streaming it from the PC that you're running it on. Because that's all handled on the back end. But what you couldn't do is actually show the Stream Raiders fight on your stream. You would just basically be sharing a link every half an hour to the newest fight that you guys are doing. So you could do that, I think. I'm not sure if they want you to do that if you're not going to show any of Stream Raiders on the stream. So that might be something you might want to join the Stream Raiders Discord and ask the developers what they have planned. And what your options are, what they would prefer to be done. If that makes sense. How do you put bots in? So Stream Raiders handles the bot all on its own. So the bot that comes in and announces when I'm fighting. Oh fuck! Of course it can't scroll directly to it. Just a little scroll. Just a little scroll. Nope, that is not what I wanted you to do. Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, Stream Captain Bot. That's the one. How do I put bots into a stream? That's another PC thing. Now, for that, you don't have to have the computer actually streaming. But like I use Streamlabs Chatbot, which is just it's basically a little UI that I download that I run. That's not the chatbot. This is the chatbot. And it's basically just a IRC interface for Twitch chat. And it has scripts, and I give it commands that it can react to where I tell it the trigger and then I tell it what to post. It's got a lot of options, but that doesn't need it to stream. It will just add a user to your chat that automatically responds to certain things or does things in a set pattern. So, like, sometimes you'll see that I post this thing about, like, oh, my merchandise is now available. Don't forget, in the United States, you can get bits for free. That sort of stuff. I'm not actually saying that. My bot is programmed to say these things on a regular basis. I think it's limited to like every 10 posts or every half an hour. And it can't do it any more often than either of those constraints. So if I were you, I would download Streamlabs Chatbot. Because that seems to be kind of what you're looking for. There's several of them. Streamlabs Chatbot is based off of AnkBot. I think there's also DeepBot. There's a couple of them. But Streamlabs chatbot is easy, fast, and has a lot of options. So that's what I would suggest. It's very simple, and it has a lot of powerful controls. So I would definitely recommend that. Okay, battle is ready to begin, and we're not quite on descent yet. So let's go ahead and switch this over to Stream Raiders. And then let's get this fight started. Or did we get one enemy? There's only one enemy? I mean, we are right at the beginning. I mean, I'm glad that there's only one enemy. Alright, open the captain chest. Alright. What's our ETE? We're in the descent phase. I can probably do one more. I'll have to riff a little bit at the end. Worst case scenario, I will end the stream, but keep the Stream Raiders going and start it when the stream ends. Yeah, it was pretty pathetic. Can't say I was happy with that. Again, with the enemies being released over time. Alright, so let's switch this back. So I will have to riff a little bit at the end of the stream here. Or end the stream, but still handle the Stream Raiders while I'm offline. That is something that I have seen done. You can do it. It's just kind of bad form. Okay, we're at 19,000 feet. We're still fine on everything. I've already turned on constraints. Landing system doesn't need to be on yet. RadNav. Are you already going to be set? Where's my RadNav? Oh, it's already set. What do you know? Perfect. I'm going to set this back to progress. How far away are we? We are 10 feet below our profile, which is perfectly fine. And we are 58 miles from Copenhagen. Should see it up over here on the right somewhere. At least if we didn't have the Colgate Blue. It looks like we may wind up descending through some clouds. I think there's going to be a pretty approach. That's what I'm thinking. I think it's going to be pretty. We're not supposed to be setting standard yet. Not until 5,000 feet, jackass. Okay, so we're doing ILS for 04 left. Star. I don't really want to worry about the star. I just want the approach plate. We're definitely on ILS. We're not on RNAV. What are we doing? Let's just check. What approach am I doing? Monat 1 Mike. See if I can find this approach plate before we wind up crashing. That's departures. Coming in 04 left. Wait, we're coming in 04 left? Is that right? Yeah, 04 left. Oh boy. That's a short runway. Oh no, wait. Okay, never mind. Alright, ILS DME 74 left. Okay, so normally this would actually be a circle to land. So, not really. It'd just be flyover, turn around. So we're going to intercept the glide slope at 1,600 feet. So we're coming from the south right now. Cubis, Baslo. Okay, there's Baslo. And Baslo is where I intercept. Cool. So that's where I'm going to intercept the glide slope. It may be available before then. Alright, let's turn on our landing lights as we're crossing 10,000 feet. I'm going to make this thing stop blinking. I can't deal with it. What's our current pressure? Q1022. And 22. I'm at the end of my level and all my tanks ran out of fuel. It's tracking fuel? Jesus. That's rough. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the weather radar because everything looks fine on the way in. Also going to go ahead and turn on the seatbelt signs, get people seated. Any lights are on, altimeter is set. I can go ahead and turn on the LS, but we're not there yet. Alright. Speed should be in manage mode. Speed brake as required, which we don't need at the moment. If we hit 230 feet, or 230 knots, then I will kick us down a notch of flaps. Hopefully we'll see a little bit of difference in the logic behind its speeds. So it used to be that as soon as I threw out flaps 1, it would try to descend the speed to flaps 2, flap extension speed. And then the second I hit flaps 2 extension speed, it would try to put it to 3. And then as soon as I did 3, it'd put it to 4. And that's not how a real plane would fly. Like, I might throw out flaps at 130 knots, or 230 knots, but I may not want to slow down yet. I just want the plane to be more maneuverable and be able to maintain more lift. I don't necessarily want to slow down. All right, we'll need to be at 4,000 feet at Charlie Hotel 551. We'll decel at 441. $3,000. Okay. All right. I think also next week we may be back in Microsoft Flight. There has been another update to the A319 project, and so I'm kind of excited to fly that. They have included a bare bones EFB, an electronic flight bag, which is what this is. Only it looks like it's going to be much cooler than this one. It's going to have some other features related to the actual flying of the plane. Where this one all seems to be about planning. It's basically just a little browser. So I can browse through here and find my manuals. So like I could load this up. This is the manual for this airplane. And I could sit here and read this in the cockpit. But I don't need to do that. I can look at maps. But like these are all very basic things, right? Ah, that's not what I meant to do. Fuck. I think we're landing somewhere in here. I think this is where we're coming in. No, we're right like here. So we're actually very close and I need to pay attention. All right, I'm going to throw on approach mode. So this is a weird straight in where this is supposed to be a flyover and circle. Alright, speed brake is not required at all today, but we're going to arm the speed brake. Approach and AP 1 and 2 are on. And it looks like we are captured on the localizer, which is strange to see when we're still a whole dot off. All right, there's our runway right there. We have visual. All right, speed checked, flaps 1. Speed checked, flaps 2. We're not quite captured on the glide slope yet. All right, glide slope captured. Let's set this to... What is our escape here? No idea. It doesn't tell me. Missed approach. Climb out straight ahead to 500 feet, then turn left. Climbing 3,000. Speed checked. Flaps 3. And flaps full. Okay, gear down. Ground spoilers are armed. Auto brake can be set for low. ECAM all green. Auto throttle is on. Nose wheel light can come on to taxi. Runway turn off can come on. Landing lights are on. Notify the cabin. ECAM, no blue. Alright. Let's get our feet on the rudder pedals. Let's get ready to land this bitch. Two thousand feet, my airplane. Okay, we're descending a little fast. Roll a little bit right. No. Easy. Easy. All right, let's descend. Throttle got away from us a little bit. Apologize for being quiet, but this is the part where I have to concentrate because I am very unstable. All right, we're back on track.
400. 300. 100 above. 200. Minimum. 100.
Here we go.
50, 40, 30, 20, retard, 10, drive.
Reversers. and stow reversers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Copenhagen. We should actually be able to go right off the end of this runway. But I'm not going to. I'm going to go ahead and vacate. Alright, let's see if I can't pull up charts again. Alright, looks like we vacated Alpha 7. Where somebody owes you 20 bucks. Alright, now we're on Alpha. We're going to take Alpha pretty much straight to the terminal. Turn off our runway turnoffs. Alright, landing lights are retracted. Ground spoilers are disarmed. Engine mode is normal. Flaps are retracted. APU master is on. Terrain on ND can come off. Brake fans can come on, but I don't think we need them. No, we do not. I'm going to go ahead and start my APU because we're not that far off of the gate. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and turn on the parking brake fan. Or the brake fan. Looks like we're going to park probably at Pier C. Maybe Pier B. Oh, I forgot to start this and stop this. Took us an hour and 30 minutes. Not bad. Alright, what are we doing? We doing Pier C or Pier B? Let's go with Pier C. So we're going to go Alpha Delta to Pier C. Slow down a bit to make this turn. This is on to Delta. And then Delta will arc off here straight. All right, we're going to cross the runway here. We're going to pretend we've been given clearance because we don't have ATC to actually do it. Right now that we're on the apron, let's go ahead and turn in here to Pier C. Normally I would have an air marshal to help me do this so I don't feel particularly bad about cheating here. Alright. Brake pressure. Brake pressure is green. Set parking brake. Anti-ice is off. APU bleed can come on. Engine 1 and 2 master can come off. Runway turn off lights off. Wing lights off. Nose wheel lights off. Beacon light can come off. Seatbelt lights can come off. Elapsed time. Stop. Fuel pumps can all come off. Transponder to standby. McDoos can be dimmed. It's so weird how there's like 800 abandoned Polish trucks there on the road. I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, I don't see many of them now, but like, it's all a part of the scenery, right? And a lot of these, like these push trucks, this is a baggage car. You know, like those are things that would actually be sitting here at an actual airport. Unless there's inclement weather going on. So yeah, we don't have animated jetways here, so that's not going to come over to meet us. But we are parked remarkably well. Maybe a foot or two off. Offloading all of our passengers. I need this. Okay, so we've got about 3 minutes to sit here and segue while we're letting people off the plane. Yeah, F for the jetway. You're absolutely right. I wish that X-Plane's jetways natively worked better. Unfortunately, it just doesn't. Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. So yeah, it looks like we flew 1 hour, 39 minutes of engine runtime. And since we had about an hour and 30 minutes of flight time, that means that we had 9 minutes combined between our leaving taxi and our landing taxi. And since we taxied 4 minutes, 2 seconds to the gate here, that means that we had 5 minutes back in Vienna. I forgot to turn it off in Vienna, so I had like 6.5 minutes showing, but that should be everything there. Okay, so let's secure the aircraft. That was a pretty long flight time to restock on Swedish fish and Coca-Cola. You're not wrong. And to get your 20 bucks, don't forget your 20 bucks. That's important. You don't want to leave your 20 bucks up there, man. All right, so parking brake is on. Adheres can come off. Exterior lights can all come off. APU bleed, APU master. Emergency exit light can come off. No smoking light can come off. Battery 1 and 2 can come off. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We are in Denmark. And that I'll find that guy. You better. Don't let people take shit from you. You gotta fight for what's yours. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Copenhagen. Let's zoom up a little bit and back out. So, welcome to Copenhagen Airport. This displays threshold, good. The one we came in on down here, bad. Like you can tell, it starts right at the threshold. Normally, you have 1,000 feet before you hit this mark, right? That's like 50 feet. But that's just painted badly. Copenhagen looks just like Vienna. No, it doesn't. It does not. And when this goes live in about a month on YouTube, you'll be able to like just zoom back and forth and see the difference. But it's definitely different. You know, this is not as clean, I think. But hey, we have some Stream Raiders to do. Obviously, this is going to be our last one. I don't want to be here. I don't have another flight prepared. So this is our last run. Looks like we got, once again, single enemy. Alright, and what do we get? We got coins. Coins, coins, and more coins. And you placed nothing, which means I can't give you anything for it. I'm sorry. But hey, I appreciate that there were some people that were there that kind of carried this fight. It definitely wasn't me. Alright, Warrior Scrolls. Hell yeah. It looks like I have something I can upgrade. Close Beta Warrior. Boom. Done. Alright. Guys, thank you. And for those of you watching on YouTube, thank you so much for spending some time watching this stream. If there's anything that you want to see, any place you want to see me fly, let me know. Hit up the Discord. You'll find that down in the description below. I do this every Tuesday on at 5 p.m. Central on Twitch. I also release these videos every Friday at 12 midnight Central. So very first moment of Friday, I release these on YouTube. I also do Mega Man X currently on Wednesday and Friday. We are currently doing a playthrough of Mega Man X5 as Zero. I don't imagine that's going to last much longer because in a single session, I got through the entirety of everything short of the Sigma stages. So that's all I've got left is collecting the last of the power-ups that I didn't get my first time through, and then actually beating the Sigma stages, getting the black armor. That's it. And that's all we have left. And then we'll be on to Mega Man X6. You know, I try to always play both characters, whatever's available anyway. There may be more characters later on. I don't know. This is the furthest I've ever been in the X series. So I'm trying to do my best with it, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I release those videos on YouTube on Mega Mondays, and I stream them on Twitch Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central and Friday at 2 p.m. Central, just to get a little bit more maneuverability, get some more people watching. So I hope I see you there. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button, the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and please, please, please comment. Comments defeat the YouTube algorithm. This is how we win. And I only want that because I want the custom domain for you guys to make it easier for you to find me. Just looking up youtube.com/ArackAttack is so much easier than the ridiculous name that I have now. I don't even know what it is. So hopefully we'll get that soon. It requires 1,000 subscribers, which means we need to break down that algorithm. So thank you guys so much for your help, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.